Welcome back, everybody. I'm Sassy Pants, wife to Matty the Rancher, and I'll be your storyteller today. Welcome to Adventures with Sodak Pete, stories that celebrate the hard work, big hearts, and wide open spaces of ranch life. Out here, every day's an adventure, and we hope each and every one of you listening can imagine yourself as little Sodak Pete, learning the ropes, getting your hands a little dirty, and helping out where it counts. So grab your boots, tip your hat, and let's see what today's adventure has in store. Sodak Pete, wildlife on the ranch. Now it just so happened, one fine ranch morning, Sodak Pete was sitting at the table, crunching on his toast and watching the sunrise, when he spotted a deer out through the window, right there by the apple tree, nibbling leaves like it owned the place. Pete's eyes lit up. He grabbed his binoculars and an apple for a snack, and he hollered for Millie. "Millie, let's go find some critters." Millie wagged like a tumbleweed in the wind. She was always up for a new mission. The two of them headed out past the barn and through the back gate, quiet as they could be. First stop, a pair of pheasants rustling in the tall grass. Then, whoosh, they glided smoothly through the air, their bright feathers flashing red, gold, and green. "Very cool," said Pete. "The pheasant is South Dakota's state bird." Then not far from the creek, Pete and Millie froze in their tracks. Wild turkeys, big old gobblers strutting through the brush like they ran the ranch. Millie wanted to bark real bad, but Pete whispered, "Not today, girl. We're sneaking, not chasing." So Millie sat real still, tail thumping on the dirt, while Pete used his binoculars to watch those turkeys as they gobbled off into the trees. With a growling belly and adventures to share, Pete said, "Let's head back, Millie." They trotted home past wildflowers and old fence posts, just in time for dinner. Inside the cabin, the table was set and the air smelled like roast beef and fresh cornbread. Pete plopped down and he said, "You won't believe what we saw." Matty said, "Try me." As he ate, Pete told stories about the pheasants and the turkeys. He even made gobbling sounds that sounded so good, Matty nearly dropped his fork laughing. I just shook my head and passed around the potatoes. With dinner done and plates licked clean, Pete leaned back and sighed, "But we ain't done yet, are we, Millie?" Millie gave a little yip and she was ready for round two. The two of them set out again across the wide open pasture where the grass whispered in the breeze. Then, zoom! A jackrabbit shot out of the sagebrush like a rocket. You don't see them often around here. They're quick as lightning, agile and wild, gone in a flash. Pete whooped, "Did you see that, Millie?" Next, Pete spotted fresh piles of black dirt near the hayfield. "Gophers," he whispered, "sneaky little diggers." Sure enough, they saw two pocket gophers pop up and dive back down faster than Pete could blink. Then they wandered up the hill, binoculars hanging from Pete's neck. Pete settled into the grass, propped his elbows, and used his binos to scan the ranch for more critters. It was quiet, calm, and full of possibility. By the time the sun dipped behind the barn, Pete and Millie made their way back to the ranch yard. Matty and I were relaxing on the porch and catching up on the events of the day. "Well," I asked, "did you see anything good?" Pete flopped onto the porch with a big grin. "Yup. Turkeys strutting, jackrabbits racing, gophers digging, and Millie being brave the whole way." Millie thumped her tail like she knew that was true. "The cows didn't seem to mind a bit," Pete said. "All that wild action going on around them, they're just grazing and chewing like usual. I reckon they know the wildlife better than we do." We all sat quiet for a minute, letting the sounds of the ranch settle around us. Birds chirping, cows lowing in the distance, and the wind rustling in the trees. There's nothing quite like the peace of a ranch evening. Makes your heart feel full and thankful. As the stars lit up overhead, Pete leaned back and he looked out across the dark pasture. "All that wildlife out there," he said softly, "and we get to live right here with it." We just nodded. There's something special about having the freedom to explore and enjoy the quiet beauty of ranch life. And as we looked up at the sky, we whispered a thank you to the good Lord for this life, these people, and another great day on the ranch. Thanks for riding along with us today. Sodak Pete hopes you'll join us on our next adventure.